The first person I ever drove was my mother. A few days after her funeral, she came to me while I slept. I was blurry-eyed and still half asleep when I agreed, fetching my keys and muttering to the car. It was only once I was in the car that I realized what was happening. She didn't speak much, just said she needed to go to the airport. That's how they all are. I found only half aware. They asked to go to the airport or ferry or sometimes the train station. They show up in the dead of night or in the early morning dawn, standing alongside my bed. Once I get them to where they want to go, they just sort of disappear. I guess it's their way of moving on. Most are peaceful and calm. They had died of old age or some sickness. Sometimes, though, very rarely, they'd die of some tragic accident. They would appear in a manner they died, broken, torn apart. That became my life until I met Harriet. She was my light, and together we had a child named Thomas. I still continue to drive, not often, just a few times a week. Harriet knew, of course, and she told me she understood, though sometimes I felt as though if she were simply humoring me. And then Thomas died. We knew it was coming. Leukemia. He was diagnosed too late. Not long after his 7th birthday, he lived for 2 more months. I took to drinking, hard, but it completely broke Harriet. She would sit up late at night, staring into the darkness at the end of our bed. I'd drink downstairs until I passed out, but one night she found me there. She woke me, clawing at my shirt, her eyes bright, frantic. "Sam, you'll see him when he comes to you? You'll see him? Let me speak with him? Sam, please?" I told her that I'd never seen a child. Only people our own age or older. She wouldn't believe me. She started screaming. She got violent. I had to leave. I had to. I couldn't take it. But I wasn't in any condition to drive. I woke in the hospital, barely lucid. Machines hooked to my flesh, wires threaded through my veins. But Harriet was there. I saw her through the haze as the doctors surrounded me, as they fought to keep me alive. The police were there too, asking questions that I couldn't answer. Through it all, Harriet stood beside me. It was days later that I finally woke, in the dead of night, still in the hospital. I turned to my side. Harriet was there. I reached out to her. I asked what happened. For a long moment she was quiet. Finally she reached out to me. It was then I noticed that the skin of her wrist had parted. Her arm bloodied. Her hand slipped through mine. "Sam," she spoke softly, "I need a ride."